god, how many times am I gonna just not know what to do with my hair? Hi there, welcome back to my channel, and today's a Sunday in case you didn't know that, because I want to fill you in with as many relevant details as possible. So, detail number 1, today's Sunday. Detail number 2, guys are awkward. And what I mean by that is that guys are awkward because that's just inherently their nature, but the thing is that you can work against your own nature. So as a guy, talking to other guys, I'm going to maybe help you understand how you could be less awkward of an individual and maybe, be more social and more, less secluded. Because, as far as I can tell, there's a lot of issues with guys and not being open and out there and stuff. And I know this is an issue that guys have a hard time with, and I want to be able to help you guys and help you guys understand. Every time I say guys, I'm actually literally talking about guys. So that's but I want to help you guys, and I want to show you that it's not as hard as you think it is to be able to put yourself out there and have a good conversation with somebody. It's really just a matter of how badly you want to have that conversation. But there's things that you have to work on to not appear awkward while having that conversation. This is really good hot chocolate. Alright, the first thing that you want to work on is your presentation. Gotta remember to breathe while I do these things. First thing that you want to work on is your presentation. Basically, your presentation is kind of just what you're wearing and at said given moment. Now, I know that some guys kind of or just people in general, they kind of want to be a little lazy. Girls can get away with this because guys just think that girls in lazy outfits is cute. I don't think the opposite is true for girls. I mean, in certain situations, if the girl already likes you, then it's true. But when you're just meeting somebody, because what am I trying to say here? That girls, when they first see a guy, they don't the majority of the time they won't think a guy that's dressed lazily is cute. Whereas a guy, maybe even 100% of the time, they'll see a girl that's in a lazy outfit and think that's cute. So you have to understand that the polarity of these things isn't always true. So as a guy, you kind of have to especially when you want to meet somebody, you have to make an effort to be more presentable than you usually would want to be. So this means that basically when you want your clothing to, and this is important, especially when you're dressing yourself, you want your clothing to make sure that it fits you and it fits you comfortably, okay? So usually you have these, if you have a shirt, you notice it has a stitching pattern here. This is a good rule of thumb you want it to be right a little bit past your clavicle, okay? And this will basically give you a good fitting shirt from your shoulders onward. And you want to make sure that clothing, really important, clothing really has to fit you well. It has to fit you and look like how a banana peel wraps around a banana. Because, when you're in the supermarket and you're shopping for bananas, you don't want to get a bruised as hell banana. You don't want to bring that home and put it on your table and be like, look at this bruised banana I got. No, nobody does that. You want to get the nice, shiny, golden banana. And likewise, the same is true for people that you bring home. You want to bring someone that has a nice package, not that kind of package, nicely packaged together. Their pants fit them well, their shirt fits them well. Everything is pretty much as it should be. Nothing's too big, nothing's too small. So try to wear clothing that really is suitable for your body size, okay? Now, I don't really make a big deal about what's on it. You can have anything on it. If you guys want something specific, I personally love shopping at Threadless, and I think their clothing is great, and I really would love to shop there more. And I don't really have a need for shirts right now, so that's why I don't really go shopping. And as a dude, I don't really like buying clothing anyway. But if you guys want a spot where you can get clothing at for guys that's casual and that's nice and it has nice things on it, then you should definitely go to Threadless. I definitely recommend them. But on to number 3, your tone. Tone is really important. Tone is well, I don't know if you guys don't know what tone is. Tone is basically the highs and lows of your voice, okay? So as a guy, you want to make sure that your voice kind of isn't always straight throughout the entire conversation. Now, I know this is kind of tricky for guys to do because when you're talking to another guy, most of the time the conversation will just have a very similar tone throughout the entire thing, which is fine because that's how guys just talk to each other. Excuse me. Like I was saying, it's fine because that's how guys naturally talk to each other. However, when you're talking to women, especially when you're talking to someone that you want to be engaging in a conversation to, not just even women, but someone that you really want to engage and have a nice conversation with, you want to make sure that your tone kind of just goes up and down throughout the entire conversation. And how you can do this is just really simple. Like, let's say you're getting into an important part of what you're saying, and you want to add you want to really like grab their attention. You can like raise it up a little bit or bring it down a little bit. This is all important in a conversation, and you kind of have to decide yourself when you want to use these things. And I definitely recommend, if you're entirely okay with this, I definitely recommend talking to yourself, as you can definitely gauge how engaging you are. Gauge how engaging you are. Great word choice. You can definitely gauge your interest level into yourself. You can definitely gauge that really well when you're talking to yourself, and when you're able to talk to yourself and have an interesting conversation with yourself, then you know that you can take the conversation that you have and have that with somebody else, and they'll be just as interested the majority of the time. Sometimes you'll look out, don't worry about it. It happens to everybody. Now, something that goes hand in hand with tone is you also want to like work on your facial expressions. This means stuff like eye contact, stuff like raising your eyebrows, squinting your eyebrows, smiling, all that other good stuff. And you want it all to, just be natural. Now, what I mean be natural is like, yeah, these movements might seem unnatural to you at the time because you're probably someone that talks with like a very straight face and someone that's just like very like this, there's not a lot happening here. However, what I mean natural is that you don't want to force these unnatural movements. Like, you don't want to smile when you don't think that you need to smile or that you don't feel like smiling. Like, a natural movement is something that you can feel happening within you. Like, if you see a person that you really like to see, like you enjoy their company and you like being around them, then you would have the natural inclination to smile. And as a guy, you should definitely act on that. Like, smile when you see the person, give them a handshake or a hug or whatever it is that you do, and then you do that, and that would be like a natural movement. I notice that some guys, they're happy to see their friends, but they don't always show that with their face, and sometimes, that's not really a good thing because you're kind of like, it's not good for the receiving it, but it's also not good for yourself because you're kind of like denying your natural movements and in turn making yourself look less sociable. And eye contact is a little tricky nowadays. As far as eye contact goes, it's a little bit unusual now, I think, to have a conversation where there is eye contact, primarily because a lot of people spend a lot of time on their phones now. And so what I'll find is that even if they're not on their phone the entire time, or if they don't even have their phone with them, because they're naturally inclined to just like look at their phone and talk, they'll continue that habit of just looking at something else other than the person that they're talking to. So eye contact is a little bit, it's hard to gauge how much eye contact you can have with a person, but usually what a good rule of thumb could be, if the person's looking at you, then you look at them, and if you can see that they want to look away, or if you're able to read the person well enough that you can see that they want to like maybe avoid eye contact, then kind of follow what they do. This is one of those situations where you want to be responsive to the person, because sometimes you used to be able to just like have eye contact with the person the entire time, but now it's kind of a bit more difficult. So eye contact is definitely something that you have to gauge, and you can't just like do it all the time, because especially with the girls, because if you look at a girl too much, the first thing that's gonna come out of their mouth is like, why are you looking at me? Or what are you looking at? Or is there something on my face? And you don't want them to feel uncomfortable while talking to you. So definitely you have to be very careful with the kind of eye contact that you have. And this is not something that's like your fault. This is something that's just a product of the era that we live in, where eye contact is generally frowned upon, and it's something that you have to be a little careful with. But also, I personally feel that eye contact is really important when having a conversation, because it adds to the level of interest that you're showing, and you definitely want to see interested in the thing that the person's saying, even more so when you like that person or you want to be friends with that person. Alright, last thing that I want to go over is lingering. So this is something that a lot of guys are like, I'm gonna take a sip of this. Hot chocolate is so good. Like really, really good. God, I love hot chocolate. So lingering, like I was saying, lingering with guys, it's something that I feel like only guys are primarily guilty of, is when you hang around in a conversation too long when it's already over. And I know this is like especially true because it's true for me, and it's true for like a lot of the guys that I know, and it's probably one of the main factors that kind of stops a guy from talking to a girl, because they don't really know when a conversation is over or if the person is uncomfortable even right from the start. So you really have to understand that when you're talking to somebody, at least face to face, that when the person is being unusually unresponsive, like they're avoiding eye contact, they're keeping very short responses with you, or anything along those lines, anything that makes you feel like this conversation isn't worth, like you'll feel it in yourself, like you'll feel like yeah, this person doesn't really want to talk to me. If you have that feeling, as soon as you get that feeling, just say, it's important, this is important. And you have to understand that a girl typically won't end a conversation until shit hits south, and you don't want that. You don't want to like to talk to a girl and then have her just randomly say, yeah, you're being really creepy and weird and I need to go. Because that's really the only time that a girl will end a conversation, is when it's just like disastrously over. So you want to be able to like take control of the conversation, and if you see that it's going like poorly or if it's going downhill, then you really want to like be able to end the conversation when you need to end it. So this can be as simple as saying, I'll talk to you later, or you know, you can even make up a white lie. You don't have to be entirely honest as to why you're leaving the conversation, and sometimes it's better that way, because you don't want to have a poor transition on the way out, because I mean, there has to be one good thing about the conversation, and leaving politely can be that one good thing. So at least you can take that away from your conversational experience with that particular individual, and then carry that on later. But yeah, and more importantly, and the last thing that I want to go over is that you would definitely want to assess how a conversation goes, especially with somebody that you like or that you want to be friends with. You definitely want to assess how that conversation went and keep like a mental note of, all right, this is something that I think went well, this is something that I think went poorly, and don't really like sit on the poor things, but like kind of like examine them and see what you could have done differently, and then carry that onto the next conversation that you do have. And this is all really beneficial, as having conversation with people, it really helps develop you as an individual, and it makes you more approachable and more likable, and in turn makes you a more friendlier person to be around, as you're more receptive to how people want to be talked to and how you can talk to them. Well, that's the end of my video. I hope you guys like my video, and make sure to like and subscribe and all that other good stuff, and I'll be making a video maybe Wednesday, and you guys can come back and watch that video. But for now, I'm gonna send you off with these tips, and if they help you, you know, leave me a comment and I'll be sure to read it, and we can talk about how fun it is to talk to people. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys Wednesday. I'll see you guys Wednesday. Making myself look fancy. Hell yeah.